Hi everyone, and welcome to today's program on burnout and fortitude. I am Dr. Joy, an expert burnout and fortitude coach. In today's program, we will be looking at workplace burnout. In our previous video, we already discussed about the definition and the 5 different stages of burnout. Also, we discussed about the common signs and symptoms of burnout. Now, you can find these 2 videos on my YouTube channel at Dr. Joy. And then there you are free to leave your comments, or if you have questions, just drop it there and I'll get back to you. In today's program, we will be focusing on what are the different factors that contribute to burnout in your workplace. We'll be looking at 8 different factors. There might be other ones, but today is going to be a short video and we're going to be looking at these 8 different factors. Now, what are these factors? We will talk about work overload, lack of control, insufficient rewards at your workplace, poor work relationships with other colleagues, unclear job expectations, work-life balance, very important for mothers, high stress environment, and the last factor will be lack of fairness. So let's take it step by step and we'll start with work overload. So when we are talking about factors contributing to burnout in the workplace, there are several ones, but we're going to be taking these 8 different factors as a guide so that you are able to place and maybe find yourself. Now, when we talk about work overload, we are talking about excessive workload and long hours. Perhaps you want to please your supervisor or your manager. For that reason, you're doing overtime, even when physically your body is telling you that you need rest. You want to prove yourself, so you keep on working long hours. Sometimes you have unreasonable expectations and deadline. It's important to know that excessive work demands can lead to burnout. And what is burnout? It's a state of chronic physical and emotional exhaustion. Burnout occurs when workers, employee, for instance, when you start feeling emotionally drained, when you start experiencing negativity, cynicism, or detachment from your work, you start having a reduced sense of personal accomplishment, then you know that you're moving into burnout. Burned out employees are more likely to become disengaged. They are more likely to lean towards decline in their performance and commitment to the company. And these all coming because of work overload. Okay? We go to the second, lack of control. What do you mean by lack of control? Because you're working very hard, you're no longer taking time to take care of yourself, to have the normal rest. Sometimes you have a kind of limited control over certain tasks, over certain work decisions. You have a kind of lack of autonomy and inability to influence outcome. Then what you then do, the things that you can control, you go over there and overdo them. That can include overeating. That can include using substances in order to suppress the fact that you have limited control over work tasks and decision. What about the The third factor, insufficient rewards. Now, inadequate compensation when you're working long hours and you don't feel that you're compensated adequately, or recognition and appreciation are not sufficient or even lacking in certain circumstances, this contributes to workout in the workplace. Lack of opportunities for growth and advancement. There are people who are in jobs where for years they have not gotten promotion, but they are working very hard. So these are the factors that contribute to burnout in the workplace. Now, the fourth factor, poor work relationships. I think many people know that, and I know that you can never be liked everywhere you go. So it's important to watch out for this. Conflicts with colleagues or even with your supervisor or your manager, lack of support and collaboration. You feel isolated and you feel unsupported. So these are the things that can happen to give a very poor work relationship at your workplace. The fifth factor could be unclear job expectations. You could be in a company that have obscure goals. You could be in a job place where it's basically a dysfunctional team. You could be in a place where you have excessive workload or just doing the same routine work over and over that is not challenging enough for you. So when we talk about unclear job expectations, we're looking at unclear or constantly changing job roles and responsibilities. We can also think about the lack of clarity about what is expected. The sixth factor that can contribute to burnout in the workplace is work-life balance. And this is a very critical one, especially for mothers who are juggling between taking care of the children, of the family, and giving their best performance also at the workplace. Now, inability to balance your work and personal life will contribute to burnout at workplace. You have to make out time to drop your daughter to the music school, to take your son to the football club, as well as take care of the family, your husband, your wife, and then perform very well at your workplace. So if you're not able to balance this relationship between work and your personal life, it will develop into burnout in the workplace. Now, also, what we need to watch out for under here is sacrificing your personal time and activities for work. You sacrifice the time that you should spend in working out to do overwork over and over again. Of course, once in a while it's okay to finish a project, a deadline, but if you make it habitual that you sacrifice the personal time, overwork activities, this will culminate, this will lead and contribute to burnout in the workplace. Now, what about high stress environment? I think this is self-explanatory. When you are in a high pressure work environment with constant demand, go, 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 which sometimes is okay when you have deadlines that are very critical. But when it becomes constant, that all the time you are on this high pressure work environment, it will contribute to burnout in the workplace. Also, when you have lack of resources and support to meet job demands, while you are under stress, you're not performing well because of this, it will contribute to burnout in the workplace. So I hope you are understanding. We are discussing about the factors that contribute to burnout in the workplace. And it's important to watch out to see which are the ones that are very familiar to you, and then what are the things that you might do, which will come in later videos in order to watch out and prevent this. Now, the last factor we're going to talk about is lack of fairness. Indeed, sometimes in life, you sometimes have the feeling that, wow, it's a man's world, although sometimes it does feel like it's a woman's world. It's important to understand that perceived unfair treatment or even favoritism, sometimes it's obvious at workplaces. Inequity or inequality in workload distribution and opportunities can also happen. So it's important to watch out for this and also perhaps to discuss it with your supervisor on time. If things are discussed earlier on, solutions can come. So it's important to know that these factors that contribute to burnout at workplaces can be solved if it is discussed on time with your managers or supervisor, instead of bottling it in and then expecting that you can solve it on your own. Now, finally, to end this short video on the factors that contribute to burnout in the workplace, understanding the different stages, signs, and these contributing factors of burnout, it's very critical to recognize and address burnout effectively. Now, when you are able to identify these elements early on, you are able then to take proactive steps to prevent and manage this burnout, which will ultimately give you a healthier life and increase your quality of life. Remember, stress is a fact of professional life, but extreme and unrelenting pressure can lead to the debilitating state that we're discussing now, burnout. There are three signs, three symptoms that you have to watch out for: exhaustion, cynicism, and distancing yourself from work, and inefficacy or feeling of incompetence and lack of achievement. We need to watch out for this. Research has already shown that there are many health problems such as hypertension, sleeping disturbances, depression, and even abuse of substance that are all linked to burnout. Now, remember that this can ruin your relationship, it can destroy your career prospect. So it's important to resolve burnout very quickly, as soon as possible. And if it does require that you change your job or your team, then it's something that you need to address. Also, it's important to know that burnout is not something that we need to be afraid of. It's something that you need to be aware of. When you are aware of it, then you can look for proactive solutions because there are solutions. But you must take steps towards first identifying the different stages, know the signs, and then we can then work towards recovery and prevention. Making a priority of your health is very important. So what this means is that you shift your perspective to determine which aspect of your solution, of which aspect of your situation that are fixed and which aspects that can be changed. Now, it's important to, on your own, work towards reducing exposure to stressful activities, staying away from stressful relationships, and most important of all, seek out helpful interpersonal connections. And if you do not know how to do this, just drop some comments and questions on this YouTube comments section, and I will get back to you. So I want to thank you all for listening. If you have time, please check out our websites and our Facebook pages. Drop your comments and we will get back to you. Thank you and see you on the next program.